You ruined everything. I hear these words before I fully register my own breath. Each inhale roars in my ears, deep and ragged, as if I've sprinted 10 miles without stopping. I feel my lungs expanding, then contracting, sending jolts of awareness through my veins. It's late, too late. The living room lamp throws out a dull light, not quite enough to chase away the shadows. Sarah Thompson stands by the table, her arms crossed over her chest, eyes red. She says nothing else right now, just those 4 words. They keep bouncing around the room. You ruined everything. She's trembling slightly. Or is it me that's trembling? My hands feel cold, clenched. Outside, I catch a glimpse of the sky through the half-closed blinds, low clouds, heavy with unched rain. The world is wrapped in a sort of muffled hush, the way Seattle can be on nights like this. Sometimes I think the weather here mirrors exactly what I'm feeling, thick and gray and ready to burst. I set my phone on the kitchen island, next to the old cookie jar. She's watching that phone like it might be a grenade. I see no sign of Mark Bradfield in the house now, but I can sense him in every corner, every silent breath. The memory of what I saw earlier in the week is enough to make my pulse pound. I keep my words short. Sarah Thompson. Why? She looks at me with tears, but anger pushes them back. Don't start with that tone, Jacob, she says. I'm not. You have no idea how lonely I've been. Lonely. That word echoes in my mind. I want to bury it, but it's unstoppable. I bite my lip. Speak. Sarah Thompson uncrosses her arms and steps closer. She's wearing leggings and a sweatshirt, an outfit she throws on for yoga or a quick run to the grocery store. Right now, it seems more like camouflage, a protective shell. She inhales deeply. I didn't plan this. Mark just. He listened. He was there. You were always gone. I can't answer her yet, because my breath roars in my ears. It's all I can do not to erupt with curses, accusations, demands. So I let silence stand between us, that long, suffocating hush that tastes of stale air and regret. You could have told me. I manage at last, my voice so low I barely recognize it. She holds her ground. You never listen. I want to tell her that I do listen, that I've tried to understand her frustrations, her wanting to teach more, her feeling that our life had become routine, her father dying. But the words feel cheap now. I stare at her face, searching for the woman I married, the woman I once believed I knew better than anyone else. Where is he? I ask. She lowers her gaze. He left after dinner. He's got classes tomorrow, you know. He can't stay late. A fresh wave of fury strikes me. I picture them at our table, in our kitchen, laughing maybe. Or maybe it wasn't even laughter. Maybe it was just tension. A shared secret. My fists clench. In this house, she says nothing, which is enough. Silence again. My pain feels like a physical weight on my chest, the kind of pain that begs to be voiced, but can't find the right words. I shut my eyes for a moment, and see shapes dancing in red behind my lids. The night's thick cloud cover rumbles. A wind picks up and flutters the blinds. My mind flicks to an image from a few hours ago. I came home to see them in the hallway, leaning into each other's space, her hand on his shoulder. They didn't see me. At first. Mark's eyes were hungry, and Sarah Thompson's face looked alive in a way I hadn't seen for years. When they finally noticed me, Mark pulled back. She stammered something about a tutoring session. Mark braced for a confrontation. But all I did was walk past them and lock myself in the bedroom. That's how the evening started. Now I guess it's ending. I can't let it end here. The memory of the bathroom mirror, that lipstick scrawl from days ago. I waited for you, haunts me. A mocking invitation. I remember picking up that porcelain doll with the stiff plastic arms, drowning in the thought that everything I'd built was crumbling around me. That was the night I realized she truly didn't love me anymore. The night I felt the edges of my sanity blur. My breath escalates, and I fight to steady it. Outside, The winds become stronger, rattling the window panes like a threat of a storm to come. Sarah Thompson stands quietly, hugging herself. I speak in a low voice. What did you do with him? She seems taken aback by the question. We just talked. It got physical, yes, but, Jacob, you've barely been here. You've locked yourself in your own head. Do you really think everything I do is about you? I let the question settle. Maybe everything I do is about her. Maybe everything she does is about me. My world is swirling in confusion. I've been working hours that kill my soul, trying to earn enough to keep this house, keep our kid in a decent school. Meanwhile, I'm drifting so far from her that she's found a new anchor in my son's English teacher. I want details I can't bring myself to ask for. I want to know exactly how she touches him, how she looks at him, how she breathes when he's inside her. That desire for knowledge burns me up. But the real question is why I feel the need to tear myself apart that way. Why do I want to push deeper into my own pain? My phone buzzes, like a final note in an eerie soundtrack. I snatch it off the counter. It's a text from a coworker about tomorrow's sales meeting. Mundane. Meaningless now. I drop it. Sarah Thompson sees the tension in my face. She steps closer, sets a hand on my forearm. It doesn't mean I don't. I jerk away. Stop. She tries again. Jake, please. Just hear me. I glare at her. Talk. I never meant to humiliate you, but you locked me out. Every day, you come home late. You're exhausted. You don't ask about my day, our son's day. You don't even notice I'm struggling to decide if I should go back to teaching full-time. Mark gave me advice. He listened. He showed me I'm still someone, you know. That I matter. And then we crossed a line I thought we'd never cross. She tries to control her trembling lip. I didn't want it to happen. But it did. So now we handle it. We figure out what we want. Her voice cracks. Because I'm not sure anymore, Jake. I stare out the window. The sky is opening up, releasing rain in heavy drops against the glass. The hush breaks into a percussion of water and wind. Perfect. A storm to match my inside emptiness. I swallow. How long? She presses her palm against her forehead. A few months. My heart stutters, and a wave of nausea clenches my stomach. Months. While I was working, while I was driving our son to practice, while I was sleeping next to her. I taste something bitter on my tongue. Lightning flashes, faint behind the clouds, but enough to flicker across her face. I think about the next words that want to rip free from my mouth, but I can't push them out. The pain is locked with the silence. The only outward sign is the rigid tension in my jaw. She tries to meet my gaze. Jacob Thompson, say something. Sarah Thompson. I start. My voice is dead as I feel inside. It's done. She catches her breath. You're giving up just like that? I can't believe she's the one asking me that. But I realize I'm not giving up. I'm just stating the obvious. Something died in me the moment I saw them in that hallway. Something I didn't even know was fragile until it shattered in front of me. I turn away. I need air. Her eyes fill with worry. Where are you going? I shrug. Out. Just out. She tries to follow, but I raise my palm to hold her back. No. Stay. A flicker of guilt crosses her face, followed by indignation. Don't do anything stupid, Jacob. Please. I don't answer. I just pull on my coat from the hook by the door and step outside into the storm. The cold hits like a slap. Rain drums on the sidewalk. The overhead light casts a small glow on the front porch. But beyond that, the neighborhood is a swirl of black and watery reflections. My son is asleep upstairs, presumably oblivious to everything. Or maybe he's heard it all. Maybe he's heard every muffled argument for months. I stand there, letting the rain soak my hair, hearing my breath loud in my ears again. I wonder who I am if I'm not the steady husband, the father, the provider. I feel an anger rising, coiled tight in my chest. Sarah Thompson's words echo. You ruined everything. Could be true. But I also want to scream that she's the one who set fire to our marriage. She's the one who thought Mark Bradfield, our son's teacher, would be a good place to bury her loneliness. That's not a single mistake. That's a choice repeated again and again. The rain intensifies, a sudden cascade that soaks me in seconds. I can't stand still anymore. I walk to my car, hunching against the downpour. My breath rattles. The engine hums to life, and I grip the steering wheel so hard my knuckles whiten. In the rearview mirror, I see the faint silhouette of our home. The windows glow, a small fortress of warmth in the surrounding darkness. Sarah Thompson is likely standing behind the curtains, watching me, unsure if I'll return. I pull out of the driveway. The wipers slash across the glass in frantic arcs. The roads are nearly empty at this hour, shining from the reflection of street lamps. In the hush of the car, I think about the doll in the bathroom. Her silent message, "I waited for you." My mind churns with memories. The day I proposed to Sarah Thompson on a misty beach, how she said she'd never leave me, how we had our little boy, and everything seemed perfect. Then my father died, and I sank into a depression I never fully admitted to. I wonder if that was the start, if maybe my sorrow pinned me down, and she lost the husband she used to know. A semi roars past in the opposite lane, drenching my windshield in a sheet of water. I flick the wipers to their highest setting, my vision momentarily gone. When it clears, I realize I'm on the highway, heading nowhere in particular. My thoughts keep circling. She was with him, in that bedroom, or on that couch, or in the kitchen. The mental images tear me apart. I grit my teeth, fighting the humiliation. If this were years ago, if we didn't have a kid, maybe I'd never step back in that house. But my child is there. My life is there. That's what complicates everything. I keep driving, letting the miles roll under me, letting the storm lash at the car. I pass a convenience store, lit up and lonely, like a beacon for desperate men. I recall that Mark Bradfield is single, divorced. Did he see Sarah Thompson as some kind of rescue? Or did he just see a woman starved for attention and took advantage? I snap out of my thoughts and take an exit that leads to a viewpoint overlooking the city. It's a place I've gone before, in calmer times, to watch the skyline. When I park, the city lights glimmer in the distance, blurred by the rivulets of rain on my windows. I kill the engine. My breath is the only sound in the car. Silence, except for my pulse. The pain of it is staggering. I drop my head onto the steering wheel. I want to cry, but tears don't come. Instead, a wave of rage floods me. I slam my fists onto the dash. My voice, raw and loud in the small space. Damn it. For a long moment, I just breathe, hearing my own heart thunder. Then the wind outside shifts direction, the rain tapping in new rhythms against the metal roof. A fleeting memory of an old argument between Sarah Thompson and me surfaces. She accused me of ignoring her emotional needs. I told her I was too exhausted from work. That was the first time I saw the distance in her eyes. Now I wonder how many steps led to this final betrayal. I imagine how I might confront Mark Bradfield. He's younger, full of ideals, probably sees himself as the hero in some tragic romance. The idea that he's touched her body, whispered in her ear, unravels me. Part of me wants a confrontation so fierce, it ends with him bleeding on the floor. Another part of me recognizes I'm not that man. I've never been that man. Aggressive impulses war with my controlled nature. I'm caught between wanting to burn everything and wanting to hold on to what little remains. Finally, I start the car again. I drive back with no real conscious plan, just the knowledge that I can't linger out here forever. Rain slacks off for a moment, then returns in staccato bursts, as if the sky itself is uncertain what it wants to do. When I arrive home, the house is dark, except for a single light in the living room. The curtains are parted a few inches, but I see no shape behind them. I let myself in quietly, half hoping Sarah Thompson has gone to bed. Inside, the lamp near the couch casts a muted glow. A blanket is folded neatly on one arm. The faint odor of a half-washed dish or a day-old coffee mug lingers, normal household scents that once gave me comfort. She isn't in the living room. Upstairs, maybe. I creep up the steps, each one creaking under my weight. At the bedroom door, I pause. A sliver of golden light spills from beneath. My breath roars again. I push it open slowly. Sarah Thompson is perched on the edge of the bed, wearing the same sweatshirt, though now her hair is down, damp at the tips. She must have taken a quick shower. She looks up, startled. In her hand is her phone, the screen lit with messages I can't read. I speak first, softly. I didn't go far. She sets the phone aside. Jacob, I was worried. I grunt. I let the rain drip from my coat onto the hardwood floor. She stands and steps toward me, arms out like she might hug me. But I don't move. She drops them back to her sides, unsure. Her voice wavers. What do we do now? I hold her gaze. I don't know. She tries to speak again, but I interrupt with a question. Sarah Thompson, do you love him? She hesitates. That hesitation feels like a knife. It's not love. It's complicated. He's there for me in ways I forgot were possible. But it's not that simple. I watch her face, trying to see sincerity. And me. She opens her mouth, closes it, tears forming in her eyes. It's complicated, she repeats. A harsh laugh escapes my throat. Unexpected, bitter. I see. Rain batters the window just then, the wind howling. My body is cold, soaked to the bone. I shrug off my coat, let it drop to the floor. We stand there, no more than 2 feet apart. She bites her lip, uncertain. I sense she wants to justify, to apologize, to find a way to keep both illusions afloat. That she's a good wife, that I'm a decent husband, and that Mark Bradfield is a harmless fling. But the illusions are dead. Her voice trembles. Jacob Thompson, I never wanted to break us. I swallow the rage. You did. She flinches. You ruined everything. She repeats that phrase, but softer now, as though she's not sure who she's blaming. A hush descends once more. That hush is heavier than any scream. Suddenly, thunder shakes the sky. The lamp flickers, casting our shadows on the wall. I see her shadow next to mine, smaller, but reaching out. Without a word, I turn, go to the adjoining bathroom. I flip on the light. The mirror glows with that awful fluorescent reflection. The remnants of her lipstick scrawl are faintly visible, a ghostly red smear. I stare at it and remember how I felt that night, like an unwanted presence in my own home, holding a plastic doll that reminded me of her. Helpless, humiliated. The memory sets my teeth on edge. The door creaks. She steps behind me. Our eyes meet in the mirror. She touches my shoulder lightly, as if testing whether I'll snap. I want to recoil, but I stand rigid, letting her hand rest there. There's still a swirl of warmth inside me that recalls the nights we shared this bathroom in laughter, the times we prepared for bed, her reflection in the mirror next to mine. Now, it's twisted by betrayal. I breathe out. We fix this, or we end this. Her reflection wavers. I don't want it to end, she whispers. Then end it with him. I say, my tone clipped. Now. She blinks. He's my friend. Friend. The word stings. You made him more than that. End it. She nods, but her reflection is uncertain. Thunder booms again, shaking the walls, and the light flickers once more. I spin to face her, water dripping from my hair onto the tile. I'm going to bed. You can sleep here or in the guest room. Your choice. My short phrases are cutting, intentionally so. She looks at me with pained eyes. Jacob, enough. I brush past her. She stands in the bathroom, silent, as I peel off my wet shirt and throw it aside. My mind feels scorched. I climb into bed, forcing myself to lie down. The sheets are cold. A few moments later, she slips in beside me carefully. I stay on my side, facing away, My breath is slow, but beneath that pace, my heart is furious. She hesitates, eventually reaching to place a trembling hand on my back. I don't move. She lies there, her breathing uneven. We say nothing. The storm outside continues. Sleep doesn't come easily. My thoughts churn with visions of them together. Hours pass in this suffocating tension. At some point, I hear her softly crying, but my own tears refuse to form. Eventually, an exhausted, haunted slumber overtakes me. When I wake, the house is dark and quiet. I can't tell if she's still in bed or not. My clock reads 4:13 a.m. My body feels stiff. Carefully, I sit up, scanning the room in the faint light. Sarah Thompson is curled on the very edge of the mattress, as if unsure she's allowed to take up space. I slip out and head to the living room. The storm has passed, leaving behind a damp hush. The first threads of dawn are creeping into the sky. I flip on a small lamp and sink into the couch. My phone buzzes again. A coworker, probably up late or too early. I ignore it. I recall how we used to talk about growing old in this house. We'd watch the sunrise from the kitchen window. We'd paint the walls a new color each year just because we got bored. Now the walls seem to loom over me like silent judges. My breath returns to that ragged pace. I grip the couch cushion to ground myself. A memory slips into my mind. The day my father died. I was just out of college, and I couldn't catch my breath then, either. My father's final words to me were about responsibility, taking care of my family, never letting them down. That day, something in me hardened. I embraced the role of provider, maybe too deeply. Did that sense of duty overshadow the man I could have been to Sarah Thompson? I don't know. I can't stay here in the quiet gloom. I grab my car keys again, slip out the front door. The dawn air is crisp, the ground soaked. I feel a dull ache in my bones. I drive to a 24-hour diner a few miles away. My reflection in the rearview mirror looks haggard, older than my 42 years. The diner is nearly empty. Just a couple of truckers, a waitress leaning against the counter reading a magazine. I order black coffee, no food. My stomach roils. I stare at the swirling steam, hearing only my breath and the buzz of fluorescent lights. After a few minutes, I pull out my phone and Google Mark Bradfield. I find the school's website, see his teacher profile, a short bio about his passion for literature. I swallow bitterness. This is the man who replaced me in my wife's arms. Part of me wants to call him. Demand a meeting. Something direct, man to man. Another part of me fears what I'd do or say, because I know I'm close to the edge, one push away from lashing out. And what if I do? Violence? That's not me. But the black coffee in my cup reflects a face I hardly recognize. At last, I dial his number, which I gleaned from the parent contact list. The phone rings. My heart's in my throat. No answer. I realize it's barely 5 a.m. Of course he's not awake. I hang up. The waitress glances at me curiously. I wave for the check. I return home by first light, an orange glow bleeding over the horizon. The house is still. I notice Sarah Thompson's car is gone. My chest tightens. Has she gone to him? Or maybe she took our son to an early practice or a friend's place. I step inside, see a note on the kitchen table. Took our boy to his friends for the day. We need space. Please don't do anything drastic. We can talk tonight. Sarah Thompson. Space. Fine. I wander the house, drifting from room to room in a numb haze, picking up random objects, a family photo in the hallway, a half-empty coffee mug on the counter. Everywhere I look, there's evidence of our life together, and it feels both suffocating and heartbreakingly precious. By midday, the sun has broken through the clouds, shining bright on rain-soaked streets. Puddles gleam like mirrors in the drive. The house is quiet, too quiet. My phone vibrates. It's a text from Mark. Jacob, I'm sorry. I don't want to make things worse. Let's talk, man to man. He's bold, or maybe he's just naive. My gut twists. Part of me wants to ignore him. Another part demands confrontation. I find myself texting back. Fine. Meet me at 6 p.m. at Redwood Park, near the old picnic tables. He replies immediately. I'll be there. My heart slams in my chest. Redwood Park is a modest patch of green near the local high school. Quiet, usually deserted on weekdays. I figure it's a neutral ground. I can corner him with no fear of prying eyes. Or maybe I want a witness. I'm not sure anymore. Time crawls as I wait. I pace the house, open the fridge, close it again without eating. My reflection in the mirrored glass of our cabinets shows a man on edge, eyes sunken. Sarah Thompson's not back yet. I don't call. Let her have her space. Finally, 5:30 arrives. I grab my jacket. The memory of last night's storm lingers in the back of my mind, but the sky is now pale blue, streaked with lazy clouds. A total shift in weather. A jarring reflection of how everything changes so easily. I drive to Redwood Park, park the car at the curb. The place is quiet except for the faint chatter of birds in the trees. The grass is still damp, glistening in the late afternoon sun. A gentle breeze rustles the leaves. For a moment, it's almost peaceful, but inside me, there's a war raging. At 5:58, I see him. Mark Bradfield is walking toward the picnic tables, wearing jeans and a gray sweater, shoulders tense. He spots me, lifts a hand in an awkward greeting. My pulse spikes. I stand by the table, arms folded. Mark, I say. He approaches slowly. Jacob, thanks for meeting me. I nod, jaw tight. Talk. He exhales, rubs the back of his neck. I'm sorry. I didn't want to hurt anyone. But Sarah, your wife, Sarah Thompson. I say, emphasizing her full name. He clears his throat. Sarah Thompson, right. I didn't go looking for trouble, but I cut him off. Did you sleep with her? He falters. Yes. I step closer, fists clenched. He raises his palms in a gesture of peace. Look, I know it's wrong, but I think I fell in love with her. A red haze pulses behind my eyes. You had no right to come into my house, to be with my wife. She's the mother of my son. What the hell were you thinking? He's trembling. Or maybe I'm the one shaking so hard that everything blurs. Jacob, I never intended to disrespect you. She was unhappy. I tried to help, and it turned into more. I'm sorry. The apology rings hollow. My breath hisses between my teeth. Stay away from Sarah Thompson. Stay away from my son. He looks genuinely pained. I can't avoid your son at school, but I promise I'll keep my distance otherwise. Jake, if you want to talk this through, maybe we can figure out a way to. I snap. Talk what through? That you took advantage of her loneliness. That she let you. You think I'm here to make peace. You think I'm your friend now. He steps back, posture defensive. No, I just don't want to cause more damage. The controlled aggression in me teeters on the edge. I want to punch him, but a deep voice in my head warns that violence won't fix anything. Instead, I lash out with words. You already did. You caused plenty of damage. Don't ever come near my home again. I'm done. His eyes flicker with guilt and a hint of fear. He nods. I'm sorry, he says, voice trembling. Then he turns and hurries back the way he came, footsteps squelching in the damp grass. I stand there, breathing heavily. A wave of emptiness washes over me. The sun dips behind a stray cloud, casting a cool shadow. The breeze picks up. I let out a strangled exhale. My hands are balled into fists. I can't remember feeling so powerless and so enraged at the same time. Once he's gone, I collapse onto the bench, bury my face in my hands. There's no satisfying triumph here, just a hollow victory, if it even qualifies. The revenge I wanted was a confrontation. Now it's done, but the satisfaction is short-lived. I smell the damp earth, the faint odor of wet pine. My mind is a storm of conflicting emotions: hate, sorrow, betrayal, longing. Eventually, I force myself to stand. The temperature seems to have dropped a few degrees. Another shift in the weather. Or maybe it's me, going cold. Back in the car, I stare at the steering wheel. I think about the word revenge, and how shallow it feels. Hitting him might have felt good for a second. But what then? I wonder if I'm supposed to do more to him, to Sarah Thompson, to punish them. But a deeper part of me wants to find a path forward, or at least a closure that doesn't end in disaster. I drive home on autopilot. The sky is turning gold, the days slipping toward dusk. When I pull into the driveway, Sarah Thompson's car is there. My heart thumps. I brace myself. Inside, the living room lights are on, and she's pacing near the couch, phone in hand. She looks up sharply when I enter. "Where were you?" "Meeting Mark," I say bluntly. She pales. "What? You confronted him?" I nod. "Told him to stay away from you. Told him to stay away from our house." She exhales, setting her phone down. "Jacob Thompson, what are we doing?" I glare at her. "I'm taking back my dignity." She bristles. "He means no harm." "I don't care. It's done. End it, Sarah Thompson. End it, or we're through." She blinks fast, tears welling. "Jake, listen. I told him already. Make it clear." She crosses her arms. "He knows. I'm not seeing him anymore." Silence. I stare at her for a moment, my chest heaving. Then I nod. I sense a major shift in her stance. She's trembling, but also resolute. She steps closer. "I'm sorry," she says softly. "I was so lost. I thought you didn't need me." I want to scoff, but my breath catches in my throat. I speak instead, measured. "I did need you. I still do. But you found someone else to fill the void." Her voice cracks. "I wish I could go back and change it. But I can't. She stops, tears slipping down her cheeks. "I don't want to lose everything. I don't want to lose you or our son or this family." Part of me wants to say, "Too late." But I hold my tongue. I see the desperation in her eyes. "Show me," I manage. Words mean nothing now. She nods, tears falling freely. Then, in a small, shaky voice, she begins telling me the truth of it all. How it started with innocent chats about teaching, about the challenges she faced. How Mark's open ears and empathetic nature eased her loneliness. How it turned into a secret they both tried to resist but failed. She confesses moments, touches, kisses, nights he came over when I was out of town. She spares me the full physical details, and maybe that's a mercy. But the betrayal is unmistakably vivid. My jaw clenches, rage and heartbreak swirling. Yet there's also a small flicker of relief in hearing her speak so openly, not hiding behind half-truths. I let her talk until her voice is hoarse, until she sinks to the couch, exhausted from the telling. Eventually, she stops, burying her face in her hands. In the hush that follows, I slump into a chair across from her. The weight of everything she said presses down on me. For a long minute, the ticking of the old clock on the wall is the only sound. We might as well be in separate universes, except for the sorrow that ties us together. She looks up, eyes swollen. "Jacob Thompson, I'm sorry. I'll do whatever it takes to fix this. Counseling, separation, whatever you want. But please, don't just walk away from me. From us." I stare at her. "We'll see." It's not a grand gesture of forgiveness, not a vow to try again. It's the only truth I can muster. We'll see. Night falls outside. Our son stays at his friend's house. Sarah Thompson arranged that so we have space. We move around the kitchen, preparing a simple dinner. The air is thick with tension, but there's a semblance of calm. We manage a few words. I glance at her. "We eating?" She nods, rummages in the fridge. "I can make soup." I shrug. "Fine." We barely look at each other as she warms the soup as I slice some bread. We stand at the counter. I see her hands trembling slightly when she ladles the soup into bowls. The memory of Mark Bradfield's face in Redwood Park keeps intruding. His apology. The fear in his eyes. I can't decide if that satisfies me or if it leaves me emptier. We eat in near silence, each of us pushing food around in a bowl. The hush is uncomfortably loud. When we finish, she quietly washes the dishes. I watch her, remembering how her hair looks when sunlight hits it in the morning, how her laughter used to fill this room. Now she's hunched, subdued, as if expecting I might erupt at any moment. I guess she's not entirely wrong. After dinner, we drift to the living room. The lamp bathes the space in a soft glow. She sits on the couch, hugging a pillow. I remain standing. A dog barks somewhere in the distance, the only sign of normal life out there. I notice the rain is gone for now, replaced by a chilly breeze that's rustling the trees beyond the window. She glances at me. Jake. I meet her gaze. Yeah, can we talk about us? She asks timidly. I snort. We've done a lot of talking. She clutches the pillow tighter. Do you want me to leave? The directness of the question staggers me. I cross the room, sit down in the armchair. My fingers tap the armrest. I search for the rage, but it's overshadowed by a deep exhaustion. I don't know, I admit. Part of me wants you gone. Another part. I can't see this house without you. Without our son. Everything would be shattered. She chews her lip. We can try counseling. Maybe. She draws a shaky breath. I love you, Jacob Thompson. I never stopped. It got buried. I study her face. I'm not sure I can believe that. She lowers her eyes. I get that. We lapse into another heavy silence. Then I take a ragged breath. The real question is, do I even know who I am now? I built everything around providing for you, for our son. I spent so many hours at work, so many hours chasing promotions, chasing money. And for what? Not just for the money, she whispers. You told me once you wanted to be secure, to never let us face what you did growing up. A wave of memory. That cramped house in Cleveland, my dad's worn-out boots by the door, the late-night arguments about bills. I exhale. Yeah. And I might have lost sight of everything else. She nods, eyes brimming with tears. We lost sight of each other. I stare at her, the numbness within me fracturing. You said I ruined everything. Maybe I did. Or maybe we both did. She breathes shakily. Both of us. But we can repair it. If we try. I don't answer right away. Instead, I notice how the last rays of streetlight catch her hair, how her face looks so fragile in the uncertain half-light. My mind whirs with conflicting impulses. The memory of them together, the knowledge that she gave herself to him, is like a wound that might never fully heal. But is it better to try than to walk away, leaving everything in ruins? She stands, walks tentatively to the armchair, kneels before me, sets her hands lightly on my knees. I broke your trust. I can't deny that. I just hope we can find a way, some path, back to each other. I swallow the lump in my throat. If we do, it's going to be a long road. I don't know if I can forgive. Her eyes fill again. I understand, but I want to try. For a moment, I feel a flicker of something. Maybe empathy, maybe love, maybe just raw exhaustion. I rest my hand on hers, not quite clasping it, just letting it lie there. She squeezes softly, tears slipping down her cheeks. My heart stirs, but the pain remains. In that moment, a faint stirring of wind brushes the window. The hush returns, the hush that's become a kind of theme in my life. I let out a slow breath, noticing for the first time in hours that the fury has receded to a dull ache. I can still sense it, like an ember buried in ash, but for now, it's contained. I look at Sarah Thompson, studying her face in the glow of the lamp. We'll see, I repeat, voice low. She nods, eyes hopeful yet heavy with guilt. I feel the weight of everything pressing down on me. My father's memory, my own insecurities, the betrayal, the heartbreak, the crippling sense of not knowing who I am. But I also feel a subtle shift, a hint that maybe the path forward isn't completely blocked, that maybe there's a chance to reshape ourselves, if we have the nerve. We stay like that for a long time. No words, just the closeness of two people trying to find a single spark of connection in the darkness. The hush envelopes us, an uneasy peace settling for the night. Days pass in a slow, fraught dance. We agree to see a counselor. We talk in halting steps, mostly about the mundane realities of our schedule, our son's needs, finances. The raw wound of betrayal sits between us, unavoidably present, but we don't shy away from it either. When the counselor sessions begin, Sarah Thompson confesses everything again, with me beside her, forced to endure the humiliating retelling. I speak my resentments out loud, surprising even myself with the bitterness. Each session ends in exhaustion, but also a slight sense of release. We are draining poison from a wound, hoping it might someday heal. I avoid contact with Mark Bradfield. He respects my demand, doesn't come near our house, never attempts to speak to me again. My son says Mr. Bradfield is quiet in class lately. He wonders if anything happened. We lie, saying Mark is just busy. Slowly, the house changes. Sarah Thompson rearranges furniture in the living room, moving the couch away from the window. She throws away that plastic doll I once clutched in despair, as if removing an omen. She picks up new curtains, a different color. At first, I resent the changes, seeing them as attempts to erase the past. But gradually, I let them happen, because maybe we do need a fresh start. Meanwhile, I vow to be present, to come home earlier. I push for a more flexible schedule at work, a raise that's overdue. My boss hesitates but agrees, seeing my dedication. One evening, a few weeks after that confrontation, we experience a break in the tension. Our son is in bed, and we're seated at the kitchen table, finishing a late dinner. The Seattle sky is calm and starry for once, a welcome contrast to the storms we've endured. Sarah Thompson laughs softly at something I say. A genuine laugh, small but real. My chest tightens, recalling how that laugh used to fill my world. For a second, I see a flicker of the woman I fell in love with. When we clean up, she rests her hand lightly on my back in passing. The gesture stirs a tenderness in me I thought was lost. I place a hand over hers, just for a moment. Our eyes meet. No words, but the hush is no longer painful. It's gentle, a lull between two people inching closer. That night, we stand in the bedroom. She slips out of her clothes, her eyes scanning me for acceptance. My heart pounds. An old desire surfaces, but it's tangled with new caution. She steps forward, pressing herself close, and I let my arms encircle her. I feel her warmth, her breath against my neck. She whispers my name, Jacob Thompson. The sound triggers a swirl of heartbreak and longing. Slowly, we lean into each other, reacquainting ourselves with the fragile possibility of closeness. The moment is intimate, the air charged. Yet behind every touch, there's the memory that these hands once belonged to someone else, even if only for moments. A trembling mixture of agony and hope guides me. In the soft lamplight, we begin to rediscover each other. Her lips find mine, and I sense the tension in her shoulders as she wonders if I'll push her away. But I don't. My own emotions swirl in a tempest, but I hold her, let her gentle kisses guide me. It's not the passionate blaze of newlyweds. It's more like a slow, cautious dance over cracked ice, both of us aware how easily it could fracture. The erotic undercurrent is real, but overshadowed by a need to reconnect, to see if we can remember the language of each other's bodies without the ghosts of betrayal pulling us apart. When it ends, and we lie side by side in the dark, I stare at the ceiling, uncertain. She laces her fingers with mine. Neither of us speaks, but something shifts inside me. A tiny step away from hatred, a tiny step toward a new identity. The next days are still challenging. Moments of jealousy or anger flare up in me, and she tries to soothe them. Sometimes I recoil. Other times I let her in. We argue in counseling. We debate about trust, finances, time, but we keep going. We talk about boundaries, about honesty, about how to handle Mark Bradfield if we bump into him at a school function. Each conversation is a jagged thread that we try to weave into a new tapestry. Not a perfect tapestry, one with visible knots and mismatched colors, but ours nonetheless. One evening, as we drive home from a counseling session, the sky is clear again, with just a rim of clouds near the horizon. We stop at a red light, and I glance at Sarah Thompson. She's staring out the window, a thoughtful expression on her face. I realize I'm not sure who I am now, but maybe that's okay. She glances at me, a small smile curving her lips. I return it, tentative but genuine. She reaches over, slips her hand into mine. For the first time in a long while, I don't pull away. Our final counseling session comes a few weeks later, not because we're fully healed, but because we agree we've reached a point where we can stand on our own. The counselor reminds us that trust isn't rebuilt overnight. We nod, understanding. The ring on Sarah Thompson's finger glints under the overhead light, a quiet symbol of what we're trying to salvage. That evening, a gentle drizzle begins outside. No raging storm, just a soft patter on the rooftops. We come home, fix dinner with our son, ask him about school. My heart clenches when he mentions Mr. Bradfield, who apparently read a poem in class that day. But I breathe through it, keep my expression neutral, respond politely. Sarah Thompson notices and squeezes my hand under the table. Later that night, after our son is asleep, we stand in the living room, lit by a single lamp and the reflection of the drizzle on the windows. She rests her head on my shoulder. I wrap an arm around her waist. There's no grand apology or vow of eternal devotion. Just an understanding that we're here, we're trying, we haven't given up on each other. The hush that once suffocated me now feels like a moment of peace. I exhale, letting my breath settle. My father's words ring in my mind. Take care of your family. Yes, I intend to. But I also need to take care of myself. I can't keep sliding into that role of silent provider, ignoring my own emotional life. If we have any chance of forging a new bond, we both have to own our truths. That includes my fury, my wounds, her betrayal, her regrets. We have to live with it, not in denial, but as part of us. Am I free? Maybe not entirely, but a strange sort of freedom lies in the acceptance of this pain. I sense that I'll never be the same man I was before, but I might become someone else. Someone stronger, if I'm willing to endure the struggle. In the dim light, Sarah Thompson looks up at me, tears shining in her eyes, though her mouth curves in a gentle smile. She kisses me softly on the jaw, breath warm against my skin. For the first time in a long time, I let that warmth in. And in that moment, I feel something like hope stirring in the quiet hush. The memory of Mark Bradfield remains a scar, but scars remind us that we lived, that we kept going even after something tried to break us. She whispers, Jacob Thompson, as if it's both a plea and a promise. I close my eyes, letting her voice and the soft patter of rain fill my thoughts. I'm empty of illusions, but maybe that's the only way to truly see what we have left. My breath steadies. I hold her closer, stepping into the silence. It's not the end of our story, just the beginning of something else. Something uncertain and fragile, yet strangely alive. And for now, that's enough.